to discuss about basically the impact of AI within the construction industry. Just first slide to basically talk about the fact that AI remains quite underutilized in the construction industry for now, as customers are showing growing appetite for these solutions, namely due to three main reasons. The first one is that within construction, something that is generating a lot of costly overruns is the fact that there are frequently delayed schedules. So namely, let's say I'm going to construct something for you and I tell you, okay, this will be done by the end of the month, and in the end it's not. Then I have to pay some penalties to the asset owners. So the asset I was building, the one that owns the asset I was building. And this is like usually a big issue within the industry. Also the fact that companies are trying more and more to emphasize on-site safety to reduce the hazards within the on-site, while being on-site, sorry. And the last one is mostly true in the US, is the fact that there are persistent labor shortages with a lot of people retiring and a lack of interest for the construction industry from younger generations. This is 37% which are currently using AI, which is quite small compared to, because when you talk about using AI, it can be just ChatGPT, for example. So this is super small compared to other industries where this number can reach like 60% for now. And even when you look at the numbers of people who are just not planning at all to use AI, 24%, which is quite large. Now focusing maybe on one of the most interesting use cases, the drawing interpretation use case, which is basically I will provide some drawings to the AI model, which can have several outputs. The first one can be a bill of quantities. To make it a bit simpler, it's just basically a quantified list of all the materials and components you're going to need to build a specific building. Actually, it can also be like a clash detection report. This is a bit more complicated, but maybe just to illustrate it in a simpler way. Basically, the AI is going to receive a lot of different plans, a lot of different drawings, and based on this, the AI is going to be able to provide the BOQs, so the bill of quantity, which is just basically each item you're going to need, the quantity, the unit, the rate, and the amount. This is actually super tough to do, and that's one of the things that's going to be more disruptive within this industry, as it should unlock a wide range of, let's say, downstream use cases, and that is going to be super interesting, namely the productivity assistant tools, the regulatory compliance analysis, where you just have to add some other inputs and put it into another AI model. Quickly looking at the vendor mapping, the vendor landscape is divided into kind of three distinct groups. When you look at the overall construction industry, you will have those large platforms like Procore, Autodesk, Oracle, etc., which basically offer quite a different range of modules. It can be takeoff, project management, etc. I'm not trying to get into too much detail on this one, as it's a bit tricky. But the main point in this slide is that when you try to develop an AI-powered tool in the construction industry, you're going to be competing with those big names which are investing massively into AI. And they are mostly focusing on document management and CDE, which is something quite specific, but also project oversight and financials. This is the core of what they do. So they invest a lot of money into AI in that area. So if you're trying to develop a point solution in that space, that's going to be tough for you. But if you're focusing on scheduling, takeoff, and estimating, we believe that it's going to be a bit more easier, because even now, Oracle, Procore, they don't have like a super solid scheduling on takeoff and estimating solutions. So usually, if I'm a construction contractor, I will be using a point solution for this, and then I will rely on the platform for all of the remaining steps. So the same goes for AI-powered solutions. Now, when you quickly look at the space, you can see that at least that's our view. You have like legacy vendors with limited AI investments, which have like low growth and rather limited AI capabilities. Then you have those modern vendors with AI-enabled functionalities. Those names are founded across the last 10 years, I would say, and they are actually quite dynamic. And then you have those large platforms that we talked about that you can see at the top of this slide. And what's interesting is that we believe that those modern vendors within this space can have difficulties competing with the platforms, as I was mentioning before, if they're competing too closely with those platforms, They can also remain independent if they are highly differentiated and provide a solution which is not offered by the platform, but they can also be interesting targets in M&A operations for those platform vendors that will be trying to fill some specific gaps in their offering. And regarding the legacy vendors, honestly, there's a strong risk that they're going to be disrupted by AI vendors or platforms offering cheaper and more efficient solutions. Overall, the construction industry is like super limitedly digitized. So even when you think about how they will be doing some stuffs, they will rely a lot on Excel, pen and papers, etc. For a lot of things right now. And AI is not a buzzword. When we try to conduct interviews with experts from the construction industry and we try to talk about AI, they often have limited knowledge about that, and they often are like, okay, that's not something we use, that's not something we plan on using. And we were a bit like, yeah, but why? And they're like, because we don't see the value, we have so tight margin that it's complicated for us to perceive a return on investment. And even the return on investment is quite difficult to perceive actually, because it's going to be like, okay, but we're going to help you be more efficient, we're going to help you have nicer schedules, etc., etc. And you don't perceive a real financial return on investments when you assess those different solutions. I think that's it on my side.